Hey guys, this is Andrew. The other video had some technical difficulties with it, so I think the easiest thing to do is to just kind of re-record it and do a real quick walkthrough again on what we all did today in today's lesson plan. So I'm going to walk through the entire process one more time for you, and this is just going to be a quicker video than the last one, okay? And you can pause and stop as you go along. So we're going to treat this just like Pete sent us a brand new complaint. So let's go to our Outlook. And this is the samples that Pete provided for us. And we did the Ford 5R110W in the last video. But I think what I would like to do is take a stab at the GM this time. So like last time, what you're going to do is you want to start a folder. You want, with the way Indesign works, InDesign, you want all of your assets linked in some way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on my desktop exactly what we're going to be working with today. This is the ATSG brand folder that I sent to everybody. So we're just going to stick this and put it on the desktop. And I know I'm working on a Mac, and you guys are going to be predominantly working on PCs. So I'm going to use PC language on my Mac, if that makes sense. So we have our ATSG folder right here on our desktop, which is fine. Brand folder, the fonts, they're all here. And so brand folder, I'm going to start a new folder here. And we're going to put all of Pete's assets into this untitled folder. And we'll name it in just a minute here. So we're going to go to desktop, ATSG, this untitled folder, and we're just going to save this GM6T40 BAS hybrid document from Word doc. We're going to save it there. And then it looks like he's got two photos here, the 6T40 BAS hybrid figure 1, 6T40 BAS hybrid figure 2. So we're going to save in that same folder GM6T40 BAS hybrid. Perfect. And now what we can do is we'll label this folder as such. Okay, so we have both figure JPEGs and we have Pete's complaint and writings ups for the GM6T40 BAS hybrid. So this is everything that we need to start. So we're going to I have the manuals, the manual template open up already that everybody has received. And we're going to start a new file, a new document. So you go up to InDesign, File, New Document. And there's going to be recent items here. If you're experienced a little bit more with InDesign, there's going to be print, there's going to be web, there's going to be mobile, different canvases, so to speak, for your InDesign. And InDesign always starts in picas. Don't ask me what picas is. I'm not really sure. But you can change it to points. You can change it to pixels. You can do centimeters, millimeters. But we want inches. 8.5 by 11. You can see it's already a standard page document. Orientation's right. Where it becomes important is down here in the margins. Top, bottom, inside, outside. Currently, they're all 1/2 inch in the margins. What we want to do is we want to take this, make all settings the same. We want to break that. And then we want the top and the bottom to be 1/4 inch. So 0.25, 0.25, and the inside and outside will stay at 1/2 inch. This is what we want to set up our document. So we create, and as you can see, we've got 1/4 inch, and we've got 1/4 inch, and we've got 1/2 inch, and we've got 1/2 inch on the margins. Perfect. So now we can start. We've got the complaints page right here, and Wayne was nice enough in our manuals template to see that page 1 of our manual template is exactly what we need for everything to start this page. We've got the ATSG blue logo. We've got the 2021 technical service information, complaint, cause, correction, number goes down here, automatic transmission service group. Everything we need for success. So the key to a lot of this stuff for most of you is this is mostly just copy and paste, to be quite honest. I wish it was actually just a little bit more complicated than that, but really this is a copy and paste job. And I'll get into that exactly in just a moment, but let me just kind of give a tour quickly of some of the things that we'll be working with here. So if we want to recreate this, we can do 2 different things. We can take all of this, and you just click over here, and then drag your mouse and collect everything so that you're highlighting everything. Everything here is highlighted. And you can hit Control-C to copy everything. Or there's 2 different ways to copy. It's Control-C, or you can right-click, and right here it says copy. And right here you'll see that is the max control button. So for PC people, it'll be Control-C. Paste, Control-V, cut, Control-X. But we just want to copy this. So we're going to copy it. And we go to our other page. You can see up here, we have the manual template, and then this is untitled. And we're going to hit Control-V, and you'll see everything popped into place, just like that. And this is where, before we start doing anything, we want to save our file. So it's untitled 2 for now, but right now I'm going to do Control-Shift-S for save as, or we can go to File, Save As. And we want to name it the same as the GM 6T40 BAS hybrid, and we want to save it in our new ATSG folder. So we're going to go to desktop, ATSG, GM 6T40 BAS hybrid, and we're going to save. And one of the tricks I always like to do is if there's something in the file is already labeled what you want it to be called, you just kind of click over here, and then it automatically just gives that up here in the save as. But just to be safe, we're in a GM 6T40 BAS hybrid. Okay. So now there's an Indesign file saved for this specifically. And so Wayne had it all set up for us where the font size and all the different fonts are ready to go here in the template. So if I were to take my type tool and click into this box here, you'll see it says Futura Extra Bold 16 point up here, bold and center, just like how we want it. And if we click down in this box, you'll see it's Franklin Gothic Heavy, 14 point, regular, bold and centered. And that's bold enough for us for the time. And then complaint is Franklin, cause is Franklin, correction is Franklin. And then the text box here with all of the verbiage is going to be an avant-garde medium, 12 points. I know it says Times New Roman. That was the way ATSG and Wayne have been doing it for years now. So what we're going to do is we're going to get all this information onto this page. So we're going to start right here with GM6T40 BAS hybrid. Two different ways to do this. You can copy right here, right click, copy. And then this is fun. You just click, make sure you have your type tool selected, click into the font size 16 bold and center box, and you can highlight everything like that if you want. Or another hotkey is Control A, and that highlights everything in your text box. And we copied GM6040 BAS hybrid over on the Word doc. So now we're going to hit Control V, and you'll see that box instantly turned to GM6040 BAS hybrid in Futura extra bold 16 point. Fantastic. And we can do the same thing for loss of line of pressure. Control C for copy. Font size 14 bold and center. I'm going to hit Control A, and I'm going to hit Control V. Loss of line pressure. Terrific. So one of the other cool things about InDesign is all of these boxes, all of these placements, these rulers, these guides, they're all here for you. Like, you want this centered, this technical information. You'll see there's squares on every single corner of this little guide, including right here in the middle. And these two middle boxes here are your centers. So if you want this in the center, you want these two boxes to line up with the middle of the page. And as you can see, we have rulers here. Let me show this real quick. We've got rulers up here on the side and then over here below. Let's get rid of this and this. Perfect. So then you can kind of see the rulers here. And what's cool is if you click on the ruler and drag, click and drag, you have a vertical line going up and down, and you can use this now. It will snap in place wherever you want it, but it's a guide essentially, and you can change it on the y-axis here. So you can change it to 2, hit 2 up here, and it will go directly, as you can see, to 2 inches. If you go to 8 inches, we'll see right there, it went down to 8 inches. And you can do the same for this ruler over here. As you can see, you can even, get an exact coordinate. And if you want on the x-axis, if we want to do 5, it goes right to 5. But what we want is we want an x-axis on 4.25, half of an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And we can do the same for this one. We can change it to 5.5, which is half of 11. And now we have an exact middle and center to our page. And we can use this now. We can take this box and we can link it. You can see this matches perfectly entwined with this middle ground guide. And so this looks already kind of messy. You got a box here, you got a line going through here, you got this, you got that. Like, it just looks a little busy already. So there is a mode that you can work in called presentation mode in InDesign. And all you can do is simply hit the W on your keyboard. So hit W, and you will see what InDesign does is it gives you a print presentation of what your document looks like. So it gets rid of all the boxes. You can see this is so much cleaner and nicer, and you get the ability to see what your work will look like. So you can work in 2 different ways. As you can see, as I hover over it, the boxes form again. So you can work in this mode if you want to. I sometimes do work in presentation mode just because I visually like to see things as they turn out. But for the sake of this, we're going to hit W again, and we're going to use the boxes. So you can just kind of line up the boxes, make sure they line up with the margins, get it right and tight. Perfect. Now, let's get all of the complaint on here. So we have complaint already in a box written out in Franklin Gothic heavy, but we want to get all this text. So we don't have to highlight complaint here. But what we can do is we can highlight all of this and copy. And then in our new box, we can get rid of this because this is part of the template. Control V. And just like that, all of the text over here has been now put into this box. And what's nice about these boxes is that these boxes are very malleable. They're very, like, I can take this and I can bring it up here. But if I don't like this line, I have the freedom to do this as well. And now that line has disappeared. And that's kind of the beauty of InDesign. InDesign has two different ways for you to see your stuff. It's got this bounding box around everything. And the bounding box sure will change everything. So like if I move it this way, the text moves with it. And then you can see like it squishes itself into the box. Like, so no matter how tight I get it, all that text is still technically in there, but it's just not showing. And even if I go in presentation mode, that's what you'll get. But we don't want that. So I'm going to bring this box all the way to the margin because we want the text to go all the way to the margin. And it looks like nothing is overlapping, nothing is hyphened on the sides. I think this is good to go. And we can look in presentation mode just to see it looks like it lines perfectly well and everything looks hunky-dory. All right. So now, cause number 1. We can change cause to cause number 1. Just get your type tool, click in the cause box, get it right where you need to. I'm going to do number 1. Now, I'm actually, in order to get all of this, you can do this 2 ways as well. You can highlight all of it and hit Control C. And then over here, you can just hit Control V. And so all that text is in this box now. If you see, if I scroll down, like this is all that text over here. Once the transmission was removed, oil circuit resulting in the above mentioned complaint, oil circuit resulting in the above mentioned complaint. The reason why I don't like to do this is because this is now, if you look at the type tool, this is now in Minion Pro. That's just InDesign's default font. So I like to make things just a little bit easier on myself. Sorry, I'm just making sure that this was recording. And I don't like to do this because what it does is it copies and pastes my text over, but now I have to highlight this, and now I gotta find the avant-garde medium font. That is one way to do it, and you can do it that way. However, what you can do to keep everything kind of in the same flow, we're gonna hold off on this, and then we're just gonna take this box that we've already finished and completed. And we're going to copy that box instead. We're going to Control C, Control V, and now we've got a complete carbon copy of the text above. But what we're going to do instead is now we're going to copy all of this over. And now with our type tool, we're going to select all, and then I'll hit Control V, and everything over here, once the transmission was removed, is not only on the other page, but it's the right font and it's the right look. So that's that. It looks great. We'll clean it up later. We just want all the puzzle pieces on the board first. So I'm going to move correction down a little bit because it looks like we've got a second cause. And so we're going to do exactly what we just did with cause number 1. We're going to take cause, and make sure you have the selection tool up here located. Like, make sure you have the arrow, not the type tool. And then we're going to click it, and then we're going to hit Control C, Control V, And now we've got a duplicate of cause number 1. But we're going to change this, use the type tool to cause number 2. Now there's a cause number 2. And we're going to do the same here. Copy and paste. And then it's just this little sentence here. Boom goes the dynamite. Moving right along. We've got correction number 1. So we got to get fancy here. Correction, type tool down here, number 1. And it looks like that disappeared. And all you need to do is take the bounding box and just pull it a little bit. And now everything shows up. You just need to make your box as big as the text that you're working with. I'm going to actually make it just a little bit smaller. Now we got this. Copy and paste. Line it up. We'll clean this up later. Do not worry. And then we're going to take from here to here. Copy. Type tool. Click. Control All. Control V. Beautiful. Just bringing things up because we need all of this to fit on the page. Correction number 2, same thing. And now because we have the 2 things, and I'm just gonna put this so like everything is along the margins. And what's great about this is correction number 2 is I can just do this. I can take this box, click on it, take this box, click on it, Control C, Control V, and now I've made a duplicate of correction number 1 and its text. I'm going to take the type tool, 2, correction number 2, collect this, and you'll get fast as you go along, and just practice makes perfect. We're almost done with this page. We've got one more, it looks like a note here in italic and a very specific Times New Roman. I'm going to make this the same text font as Avant-Garde Medium. So grab another box that's our Avant-Garde Medium, Control C, Control V, bring it down. And because this is a little different, this does not have like a correction or a cause or a complaint connected to this note here, we're just going to stretch the box all the way from margin to margin. Margin to margin. Cool? Clean up the box. You could just like kind of clean up boxes as you go along. Just make them a little bit like easier to work with, a little smaller, like get them just right. But this needs to turn into this. So we're going to copy it. All right, and if you notice, it's not italicized as a this. So what we can do is we can get all of this. Now, sometimes, depending on your font, you can go up here, it says Avant-Garde Medium. Down here, you'll say, this is where it'll be like, you know, Avant-Garde Bold, Avant-Garde Italic, Avant-Garde such and such, or whatever. This is your box where that's going to be. But unfortunately, Avant-Garde Medium does not have an italic option, but that does not stop us. As you can see, there's many different tools and types of things. You can underline text, you can cross out text, you can do whatever you want. You can make it long and tall. What we're going to do is this right here. This is a degree angle. And then we're going to click it a couple of times to be 12 degrees. And that gives us that italic feel, that, you know, that italics look and feel. So, yeah. Now, I'm not convinced that this is finished yet. So what I like to do is I like to go into presentation mode. I hit W. And this is the print preview that we were talking about earlier in the tutorial. And actually, this looks not half bad. you can kind of clean it up from here. Like the space here could probably get cleaned up just a teeny bit, and bring it up here. You know, that kind of looks good to me. I want to space this out just a bit, so we're going to do that. Click. See, now this is where cleaning up kind of just, you want to make things as pretty as possible. And Wayne had a question in the earlier thing about justifying it all over here on the paragraphs. You've got a line left, a line center, a line right, justify with last lines aligned left, justify with last lines aligned center. He had in Corel this option to make sure that there were no hyphens whatsoever. In order to do that, I learned is you highlight everything, and you can try your best to justify it. Like, it works. It seems like it's working, but it didn't work right here. So what we're going to do, if the justify does not work here, we can go up to, I think it is text wrap. Oh, my mistake, guys. It looks like you have to click on the box, not highlight it. We go to type and tables, paragraph, hyphenate. And if you take out the hyphenate, you uncheck mark this box, it will not hyphenate anything. It will put the next text box on a new line. And I think that solves your problem, Wayne. And we can do that. We can justify this, justify that. You can see here that did not work. So we can do the same thing. If we unclick hyphenate, boom. All right, I think this looks pretty good. Wayne can tell me otherwise. Oh, here, I see a mistake already here. Let's just give this the space that it deserves. I'm going to get out of presentation mode for this, just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. Like, see, that disappeared, that one line. And anytime you see this plus here, that's a sign that says, that's the computer telling you, hey, there's something hidden. So we just kind of change it, and then look, it revealed that last line. So if we go back into presentation mode, you can see exactly, this is, I think this document is ready to go. If I'm being picky, I'll do that. That looks good. But if you recall, we've got two images as well that Pete provided for us. And so we're going to put those two images on the next page. So let's save, because we always want to save when we're finished with a page. And the way you save is Control S, or you can go up to File and Save. But now we need to add a new page. And so in InDesign, what you can do is you can go up to this Pages tab, and there's all these different tabs up here. You can change the tabs according through this window thing. You can show effects, layers. We'll get into that later. This is just a basic tutorial, so I'm just going to show you pages right now. Pages, you can see this is page 1. There's a couple different ways to get a new page. You can create a new page with this little plus sign. You can go up to Layout and go to Pages, Add a Page. And the hotkey for pages is Control-Shift-P. So just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to go back into unpresentation mode and hit Create New Page right here. And look, it created a brand new page. And if you notice, all the margins are correct. There's 1/4 inch on the top, 1/4 inch on the bottom, 1/2 inch on the inside, 1/2 inch on the outside. We're ready to rock and roll already. And we don't need this document anymore because all the information's on the first page. So we can click out of that. Now, we have these two images, and I'm going to show you first and foremost First, I'm going to show you the template that I would use for this particular page. So we need to get these two pictures onto this page. And in my templates, I have on page 3 this template, which I think is going to be the best bet for us. Everything we need is right here. So just like what we did with the first page, we're going to scroll everything, highlight it, Control C, go back to our other page, and always make sure that this page is highlighted. So like when you copy and paste, sometimes it might go up on the other page if you don't highlight this page. So make sure the page is highlighted, and then hit Control V. All right. And now sometimes you just need to adjust everything just a little bit so that they match up with the margins. Perfect. Delete this. This is just a guideline. You can delete that. But if you've seen an ATSG manual, you'll see this is a pretty standard page. You've got ATSG logo, technical service information, and then this is where the pictures are being provided in the information above. See figure 1, see figure 2, so on and so forth. So we've got figure 1, so let's bring in figure 1. And there's a couple different ways you can do that. You can take it and just can't do that. So, oh, yeah. So you can just drag it in like that. You can go to File, Place, and then find it. And we got to go to Desktop, ATSG, GM 6040 BAS Hybrid, Figure 1, open. And then your scroller becomes your picture. And you just click anywhere you want. And it looks like it just accepted, oh, that's where it goes. And then the other way is a hotkey, and then that's Control D. So if you hit Control and then D together, it'll just open up the place button, and then you can add your pictures accordingly. So I'm going to bring in both pictures, because what I like to do as a designer is I just like to kind of just have everything laid out and then just like play around with it. And so here I'm going to kind of explain, to the best of my knowledge, the scale tool. Because this picture is way too small compared to this picture. We have both pictures, but this picture is huge, and this picture is so tiny. So there's a couple different things that we can do, as always in InDesign. Like InDesign, there's always like 3 different ways to do everything in InDesign. That's what I love about InDesign. But we just need this picture to be big. Not necessarily as big as this picture. If anything, we probably should skim this picture down a little bit. But let's use this picture as a perfect example. So if I were to just take this in any other program, if you just take this corner here and go like this, that picture would eventually be as big as this box, but it didn't do that in InDesign. And in fact, let me show you what happens if I do this. If I bring it in and make it smaller. You notice it didn't make the picture smaller. If anything, it just cropped out this half of the picture and this half of the picture. This is by far as I'm concerned, the most complicated part of InDesign to master. It just doesn't work like this in any other program that I've experienced. If there is another program that does this way, let me know. I'm going to hit Control Z. That's a hot tip for everybody. If you mess up, Control Z, it's going to be your new friend, Control Z. It fixes, and if you hit Control Z again, it'll take it even a step further back. So that, yeah, our bounding box is around the image again. In order to actually scale this image, you can't just click on it and then drag it. You actually have to double click it. Double click it, and then you'll notice your box is actually, if you look closely, your box is actually a different color. And that's good, that's what you want. And so now, if I just go down like this, you can see the image is getting bigger as we go along, but it highlights the original square, because what will happen is, and I'll show you, if I just let go now, my image is this size, but all I'm seeing is this. So you click out of it, and then you can just bring your box back up to its original size. It's a pain in the butt to get it just right. So there is a shortcut to this. So like if it's back to like this, but you know for a fact your image is that big, Here's a little shortcut that I like to do where you just double click on a corner like this, and look at that. It's your image. It's not a good image right now because we scaled it the way we did, but that just kind of shows you the power of the scale feature. So we're going to hit Control Z a couple of times here. And we're going to get back to its original size. So that's just kind of an example of how to use the tool. So we're going to bring this guy actually down a peg. So like I showed you, I can one moment here. So I can bring this down. No, sorry guys, hold. Okay. Yeah, so this is our image, and we're gonna scoot it up. And we know that this is a GM6T40 BIS hybrid. So all I want to do is take this and put it there. And I know that this is figure 1. So down here in the box, I'm going to label it figure 1. And I kind of want both of these images to be on this page, to be quite honest with you. So in order to do that, let's scale this image. So we're going to double click on the image. And if you hold one of the other tricks, if you want things to be proportional as you scale down, you hold the shift key as you go up. So I'm holding the shift key as we are going up here. I'm going to click, and we're going to go up, and you'll see it's proportionately shrinking our image. I think that's good for now, and you can see the bounding box is the same. Like I said, if you double click over here, boom, it's that size. Now let's bring this guy in over here. And I'm going to get a ruler just to center this, just to make sure that we're good. And like I said up here, you can change it to exactly 4.2.5. So that is exactly center. You can go and look at all your boxes just to make sure things are centered. Beautiful. So now we're going to increase this one. It's on the center, holding the shift key down. And like that, like I showed you before, it's not going to show you your entire image until you change the bounding box around it first. So what we want to do is get it just about the same here. Perfect. And now we're going to add some panels around these pictures because ATSG, they're aesthetically, they put panels around all the pictures, which is something that I actually really appreciate as a comic strip artist. So we know this is not figure 1, this is figure 1. So we're even going to bump this up, and we're going to copy, Control C, Control V. We've got 2 figures here. This is now figure 1. We can label that as such, and then this is figure 2. All right. Now these are not the same size, so we're going to make it aesthetically pleasing, let's look at the W here, presentation mode. We want to put some panels around here. And we want the panels to be about the same size as these margins. So how to do that is we go to our rectangle shape tool over here, rectangle tool. And when you click on the rectangle tool, to make a rectangle, there are a couple of different things to remember. You look up here on these boxes, these are some squares with a diagonal red going through it. And then there's another square here with another rectangle. That's a fill up here, and then this is a stroke. So anytime Wayne does like a technical drawing with just like a line or like a line drawing, that is considered a stroke in Adobe language. That's a stroke. And any fill in the middle of that stroke is a fill. So let's say hypothetically I want a red box with a black stroke. I go to the stroke here or down here. You can click on here or here. It gives you some options. So I'm going to go here. I can choose black, and then all these like CMYK colors. InDesign is nice enough to provide all of that. Or I can just click on the box itself and get exactly the color that I want. RGB, CMYK, there's hex colors, anything you want. But I want black, so we're going to click black. So now that's a black stroke. And if we want red, I already have red available here. I'm making a red-black rectangle. And you see we have our rectangle tool selected. And you can kind of see it. There is a black stroke around this rectangle. Up here, if you want to change the thickness of that stroke, you could do so. Right now it's 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 14 point. You can kind of see what I'm talking about, hopefully. If you want the stroke to be polka dots, you can make it polka dots. If you want the stroke to be triple lines, you can make triple lines. The freedom in this program is boundless. But right now, I want a 3-point panel that isn't filled in. So I'm going to go back to my red here and hit none. I just want a black stroke panel. And we're going to start it here at the top of our image. Nice and tight. And starting on the margin on this side, we're going to stretch it to the outline on a margin on the other side. And we're going to bring it down to about there. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to hit Control V, and then we've created a duplicate of that panel. We're going to line it up to the margins, and we're going to bring it down to this picture. So now when we hit W, it at least has everything in a panel mode. And I'm going to leave this up to Wayne. Like if Wayne likes things to be just so, he can bring the panels in so that they're just taking over the photo. I'm going to let him be the captain about that aesthetically for the manuals. Whatever looks the best for him. I think this looks fantastic personally. Like, I don't mind all this white space. I think as long as the picture is as clear as humanly possible, I think you're golden, and you're just trying to get your point across. This picture is so big, you could even just recommend putting just this picture on. And we can even do that for you right now. What I would do is I might even create a brand new page here. And just bring figure 2, the panel, and picture 2 over here for now. Get out of presentation mode. Grab these 2 down here, and then these 3 up here. Copy, paste. Drag that into the margins over here. Make sure everything is lined up, centered. Panel didn't go with it here, stand by. Figure 2. Down just a smidge, hit W for presentation mode. So, I mean, And then you can make this box bigger if you need be, like the original template. Double click, expand, hold the shift button down, and then bring it like so. Remember, the bounding box did not go with it, so all you have to do is click in the corner. Presentation mode. So you can kind of see, like, so that's what that looks like. You can bring this up. That's what this page would look like if you just want this big image here, and then you can fit this other image accordingly. Aesthetically pleasing, I don't know if this works, but this gives you that option. You know, if you want like a full page picture, you can make that possible. And then all you have to do is just add a new page, copy and paste. Once you guys get the hang of all of this, you can play around, you can fix some things that you wouldn't normally do. But I promise you guys, if you do this right, you can finish what we just did in this tutorial. Let's see, I would say we're about like 25 minutes into this tutorial. I can probably do all of what we just did in less than 10 minutes using hotkeys and just knowing basic InDesign. And I think that is everything. If there's any questions, feel free to email me or such, but I think you guys have everything you need for success. So happy designing.